Durnathi plays Final Fantasy VII, where we now get to outrun a bomb. I'm going to take the a little bit of dialogue. We start the timer, and I take 2 seconds to toss a bear gun on this guy. Ah! Ways on the map switch if you're holding down the movement stick as it's transitioning from map to map. You end up having a problem where you run back onto the same map, and that's kind of annoying. But come on, escape. Run, 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 run. And take down the enemies. Yes, everyone has a lovely little victory dance. Okay, as much as I love this series, I am already noticing I'm probably going to have trouble coming up with enough interesting stuff to say to fill up the 80 or so hours it's going to take me to play through this, which is an interesting problem, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. Beginner mistakes in this game. Not rescuing Jessie, because I'm going to need her to open a door, and otherwise I'd have to run all the way back down here to get her, and as you'll notice, it's a little bit of a way to the door that she opens up. Considering I'm on a timer, that's kind of a bad thing. At least if I hadn't played through this tons. Interestingly enough, they don't even stop the timer when you're on menus, which is unusual. At least, in my mind, it's unusual. Most games, when you go into pause screens and stuff like that, it actually pauses. Actually, I don't know. If I pause the game? Yeah. Pausing the game does stop the timer. Not menus, so I can't play around with my equipment and all that fun stuff. Getting the later limit breaks in this game was something that I didn't understand for the longest time. It did not help that when this game first came out, the internet wasn't really a thing yet. There wasn't just a wiki I could go up and look stuff up on. Yeah, the dark days of gaming, where you had to rely on friends' advice and information that came from God knows where. It'd actually be really interesting to go in and trace how some video game rumors spread, and how even some of the information that was true spread in the first place. Oh, here's the door I need, Jessie. Jessie. Biggs opens the door. And we're on our way out! So we can watch things explode! I love explosions! The funny thing is that when actually these cutscenes still look amazing, which is saying something for a game that 98, 18, close to 20 years old, and it still looks good in places. I mean, as mentioned, these 3D character models these days look like absolute junk, but when you get down to the cutscenes, they look amazing. And for anyone who's played Final Fantasy VIII, as you notice, they even get the character models ironed out at one point. Now, the way that they made the backgrounds in this game look so good is interesting. What they did is it's actually just a pre-done art asset that's actually 2D that you're moving around on, with certain parts of it layered over you as just kind of a static picture on top. The only thing in this game that's actually really 3D is the character models. Like, as you notice, this railing's in front of me, but that's just a static 2D picture of a railing. That's why you kind of end up with the funky camera screens, though, not screens, but the angles you do, because they need something that would show the whole area without having to move. Tifa, the flower girl, nothing. Hey, don't see many flowers around here. Yay, I can buy a flower. Run away from the reactor I just blew up. I'll go hide out, and the cops catch up with me, because that was definitely gonna happen. It's possible to fight all of these guys. You don't need to, and it doesn't really make a difference. Even if you fight them, another few just end up right behind you, so I'm gonna save us a little bit of time. For anyone who has actually watched the trailer for the remake, that was actually the part where you're fighting the guards near a bridge that is in that trailer. By the looks of things, they've turned things into active combat instead of turn-based, which, as I mentioned, is kind of where RPGs have been going. It's not bad, it's just different. As long as they don't make it so that there's no games that have turn-based combat, I'm okay with it, but they're different feels. One's a more strategic feel, and one is more of a fast-paced, action-y feel. I know not everyone is interested in that, and I can understand why when a series starts out as one thing and it changes to the other, it upsets people, but some things change. Kind of like some bands go in and they change their sound. None of their original fans like them anymore. Now, I'm not making excuses. There are some things that should still be around. Like, survival horror went through a very big slump for a while. It's just starting to recover now. One of the better ones that's come out is the Alien Isolation game. I've been playing on one of my other Durnathi plays. But yeah, that went through a huge slump for a while where everything had to become this fast-paced action. It was becoming more first-person shooters than actual survival horror. As much as I love Resident Evil 4, that wasn't really survival horror. You were just shooting things that were zombie-like. And even then, they made them extremely fast zombies instead of the slow zombies that the series had been known for. Now, one of the other ways you can tell that this is an older game is, and also it could have to do with the fact that it's a Japanese game instead of an American game, is they fully admit the group that you start out working with are terrorists, which is something you'd almost never admit for a hero without some kind of catch in a modern American game, because the connotations attached to that word have just become so bad. I'm not saying terrorists are good, I'm just saying it's become such a vilified word. It's right up there with Nazi these days. Right, yeah, we're getting an explanation of the city. I'm kind of moving through it real quick. Goes round and round. City built on a giant metal disc up in the sky with a crappy slum under it where almost all of the life force has been drained out of the ground around it, so nothing can grow. That's pretty much all of it in a nutshell. Security is catching up with us. Oh, look, we've got fake IDs, so everything's okay. Barrett surprised that Cloud actually has a heart. Once again, Cloud being a crying, whiny emo kid is the general consensus on the internet. I really just don't think it's fair considering what he does go through in this game. Seriously, if you had your entire life ripped out from under you, you'd probably not react all the greatest anyway. I'd actually attribute it more to a mental breakdown than just being some crying emo kid, but hey, that's me. Now we get to see the slums underneath the plate. This isn't even the fun slums, though. This is just the I look like hell slums. We'll get to the fun slums later. And we'll also get to be a cross-dresser there, and all sorts of fun. I haven't decided yet if I want to do all the little side quest stuff to make sure I turn into the perfect cross-dresser and get a slightly alternate turn of events. I might, just for the heck of it. Might have to actually brush up online to make sure I get the right ending, though. Because I forget which one's the perfect combination. I know that some are better than others. Like, I can never remember for the life of me which is the better dress to get. Cloud. And which way to answer the questions to make sure I get that one. It's either like the con or the silk dress or something like that. Alright, so before we get into a whole bunch of other stuff, I'm actually going to end... let's get into at least some of the other stuff before I end this episode. Alright, you gotta say anything to Cloud. Tifa, the girl who always wants Cloud and never, ever is going to end up with him, and you would think she would learn that by now. As opposed to Ares, who shows up in a little while, and everyone loved her, and of course everyone loved her, so they killed her. Maybe the writer knew George R. R. Martin. I don't know. It seems like the kind of thing he would do. You know what? Tifa never ever gets anything from Cloud, so here, she can have a flower. Of course, me giving her the flower now is going to get her hopes up for the next forever. Right now, blah blah blah. I don't remember, did they ever go into who Marlene's mother is? Because it's not actually Tifa, I don't think, otherwise it's kind of screwed up that she's with Barrett with a daughter and still trying to hook up with Cloud, but anyway, sit down, I've had something to drink, give me some. That's something I want to ask you. Now, soldiers interesting. Before I go saying too much about them, I want to redouble check some stuff on the wiki so I don't go and say some stuff that's wrong and make myself look like a complete idiot. But they're all heavily Mako infused, and Mako is both energy and memories, and magic, and all sorts of fun stuff, but soups them up strength-wise. And when Cloud finds out that he's not who he thinks he is, and that's actually Zack's memories he's running off of, the fact that he has all of those memories of Zack actually means that he's actually taken him way more Mako than anyone in Soldier would have. So in a way, he's just as powerful as them anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter that he's not Zack. He ends up with all of Zack's power and Zack's memories. And he even looks like Zack, only he has blonde hair instead of black. So it really doesn't make that much difference. Kind of. For us. For him, it makes a lot of difference, but... Okay. Anyway, before I start up another rant and go and get calling more game dialogue, I'm gonna end this episode here, and I will see you next time. In the meantime, don't forget to have fun. Yeah, in the meantime, don't forget to have fun.